Hello, everybody. How's it going? Oh my gosh. Oh. Well, how's everyone's day? I want to show you guys something really quickly. I'm in New York City right now, and look outside. It's snowing. Can you guys believe that? It's beautiful. It's so nice. I can't wait to go outside and walk around. The song was, what was it called? Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. I've been in such like I've been listening to them, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, Taking Back Sunday, Green Day, Simple Plan. I've been listening to all that. It's been a lot of fun. So in case you can't tell, I just woke up. I took the most stressful shower of my life like a second ago. It was absolutely ridiculous. Before we start today, because I can't wait to discuss this with you guys, before we start, I have to say 5 things. Is everyone ready for the 5 things? If you are, be like, yo, we're ready for the 5 things. Hey everyone, how's it going? Oh, I love the Foo Fighters, come on. I think I'm catching a cold, but it's okay, it's okay. Everyone ready for the 5 things? Okay, awesome. So, first and foremost, I'm going to apologize to you guys. I am so sorry that we have pushed this live back so many times. And because of that, I've decided to make a correction. So, I kind of forgot what I was going to say. Give me a sec. Because of that, I was going to make a correction. I apologize that we've been moving it around, and I've realized that during the week, my schedule is very up for grabs, especially when I'm shooting. And while that's like, alright, I know you guys understand, it's not fair to you. And it's not fair that I commit to something and then I keep moving it around. I'm not like that. And I've noticed that that's going to be a problem in our book club. And that's not cool to me. So from now on, I think, because that's part of our book club. We're still only on our 4th book, so we're still learning and seeing how it goes. So, and then if we see that there's something that's not working so well, we fix it. So I think having lives during the week gets complicated. For me, I think for everyone, because everyone has to go to school or wake up and go to work, and everyone's all over the world, so at different times and whatnot. So I think that we should make all of our lives on the weekend from now on. And we're going to set a date. Like from now on, I think our lives should be on Sundays at 11 a.m. at this time. On Sundays from now on. And it'll always be that way. Our lives will always be on Sundays at 11. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, I like the weekend. All right. Well, we'll leave it up for grabs. I'll put like a poll, but I propose that we make it so every Sunday at 11, everyone knows it's time for Rosende Reads. It's not like, when is it this week? Where's it going to be? No, it's always on Sunday. I know I said 5 things, but now I can't remember the other 3. I can't remember the last 3. Second one was I just took the most stressful shower ever in my hotel. So I'm in the shower, I'm in the hotel, I'm getting ready to like turn it off, and it has all these knobs and stuff, and then I twist the knob to turn it off, and the knob comes off. So I can't turn the water off, and then the knob, when I like tried to twist it off, it set it to freezing. So the water starts getting freezing, and it's like landing on me, and I can't put the knob back on to like fix it and turn it off. It was the most stressful thing in the world, because then I'm like, oh my gosh, now it's 5 minutes, I'm going to be late for the live, and I can't fix the shower, and I have to call downstairs and be like the kid that's like, hey, so I broke the shower. How do you break the shower? It was just, it was very stressful. Very stressful. I don't know how it happened. I fixed it. I didn't fix it. I was able to turn it off. I still have to call them later and be like, so by the way, the shower's broken. I'm going to leave. Bye. Wow, it's really, I need to show you guys this again. It's amazing. Look at this. It's really going down outside. Look at that. You can see all the snow. that. Wow, okay. Okay, so that was 2. The other couple things. I don't like that I don't remember the other things. Oh, just, we wrapped season 3A, and it's going to be amazing. I'm seeing James tonight. I'm very excited to, I'm very excited for you guys to see it. I've seen some of it in ADR. The characters that we have in 3A, the way the story goes, you guys are going to be, your mind's going to be blown. No, I'm not in Toronto. I'm actually in the city right now, New York City. So, there's that. Now, shall we talk? Yes! Thank you, Rita. Merchandise is one of the 5 things. It's that it's gonna. Well, actually, it hasn't progressed, so it's not really one of the 5 things. It sounded like it was. It hasn't progressed. We're still in the same place where I have to figure it out. But now that I have time, because I'm not working, I'm taking this little trip, and then I'll be able to like sit there and get things done. So within the next couple weeks, well, let's say next week. Next week we'll have more information on that. So let's talk about this book. Sad, right? So sad. Okay, but I need to be honest with you guys. So you know how there are some books that everyone's read? Like, of the 4 books, there are books that people like more than others. Books that you were able to either burn through, or books that you were, like, struggling to turn the page. The Diary of Anne Frank, at times for me, felt like it was a struggle to turn the page. Not only because I knew it was so sad, but also because this is the diary of a 14-year-old girl. And while I find it interesting sometimes, and I think her self-awareness and her understanding of her place and her desire to make herself better and constantly improve herself, discover herself, I think it's beautiful. But I also think that, like, it's so hard to finish. Because, like, sometimes she's talking about Peter for, like, what feels like forever. And I'm like, look, I understand, but, like, I think it's interesting, but it just feels like a lot of, feels like not saying you guys aren't interesting or whatever, just I don't connect to the diary of a 14-year-old girl as much as I would the diary of a 25-year-old dude. Or someone that has more similarities to who I am. Yes, Anna Cat Fernandez, she's super intelligent and mature for her age. And in my mind, it was like, are all girls like that? Or is it just Anne Frank? Because at 14, I don't think I had the awareness. I don't know if I had nearly the awareness that she had. So it was a struggle for me. It was a struggle for me to finish, but I got through it. And that's the thing with reading, and that's something that I wanted to express to you guys. So don't ever think that it's I know it was sad to see all the things she wanted to do when she left the annex, but every time she said that, I was like, ah. I agree, the book does have a lasting impact on you as you finish. I think events like wars and going into hiding mature you a lot. But I think, see, for me, I was trying to understand, this girl seems amazing, right? This girl seems really cool, and she seems like she gets things, but at the same time that she was having so many problems with other people in the loft. And I felt that as the tension was rising, as they were getting closer to being captured, I felt that other people in the loft understood that more than she did. Because she was still having very human conversations, still understanding things, and I feel like if you have the older awareness and a more protective awareness, being like my daughter, my family, my wife, my husband, my brother, all these people that you're with that you have to take care of, and you feel, she doesn't feel that sense of protection, that need to protect. She feels like she wants to figure her own stuff out and all of this. What book next? Yes, how interesting was that device that she addressed it to Kitty, and then it almost became that she was writing to us. Also, I think it's beautiful that she did become a famous writer. To me, that was something that I was like, I literally stopped and I was like, good for you, girl. Good for you. Exactly. I think natural will go stir crazy when you're stuck. She feels suffocated at times. I mean, who wouldn't? She's living in an annex with 8 people. She never lost hope. Not once. She even believed there was something good in humanity. You're so right. Should we have that discussion right now? I mean, that's an intense discussion to have, and it's kind of hard to do when we're doing it on live, but do you guys believe that people are inherently good? Do you believe that when left with the opportunity, people will choose to do good over doing things bad? Yeah, her dad made sure she'd at least get to achieve some dreams, which is beautiful. What could the father feel? Isn't it sad that her father came back from the concentration camp and he was the only one that survived? He lost his 2 daughters, he lost his wife, he lost his friends. He married another woman who lost a son. Okay, so last night, oh god, cool story. So last night, I was actually hanging out with 2 friends, my friends Daniel and Alana, who you've probably seen on my Insta stories before and whatnot, and I didn't know this, but one of their grandmothers actually had been in the Holocaust and was the sole survivor. I had no idea, and I was like, that's kind of interesting with the book that we're reading. Serendipitous. Oh my gosh! I just remembered what I wanted to say! Okay, it must have been horrific for them. I think people are both good and bad. They choose how to be and how to act. Okay, how to act. The age when you really start finding individual self apart from your family, but Anne didn't have the same opportunity to explore that part of her identity due to her circumstances. So true. Do you think this will influence your character on the show? Absolutely it will. I think anytime that you read something that connects to a character, it starts to influence that character even more. Even if it's just the next time on the show, if it were to happen that someone brings up, like we had it in season 2 when Clary was like, the Clave wants to start putting chips in downworlders, like registering them. Simon had to put Clary in her place there and educate her and say, Clary, this is not okay. And I can't do what you're telling me to do because of the sacrifices and because of the horrible things that happened to my people and to my family. My grandmother was the only one that survived. So I can't do what you're asking me. So now there's a little more understanding. There's another side of the... I can see the same thing through another window, through Anne Fank's little annex window now. Whereas before I only saw it through the general window that I had and the one that I created for myself. Yes, I think people are born good and become corrupted, but people could always learn to be good again. Interesting. Oh my goodness. That's incredible and kind of scary. Amazing. I can't imagine what he must have felt after all that. I know. Have I had coffee? Obviously not. I'm still so asleep, but I'm getting there. Simon is inherently good, yes. Okay. Okay, so guys, really quickly, I'm going to say what I remembered. So yesterday, I was, we'll come back to the book. It's just like 2 minutes. Yesterday, I was at, what's it called? I was in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. My parents, live on a military base there now. And we went to the tree lighting for my dad's military base. And the commanding officer, or the commanding general, gave a speech. And on the speech, he said something that was powerful. He said something super powerful, and it was amazing. I was blown away by the speech. He starts with a small joke, as a lot of military. Oh, you live on a military base too? Awesome. So he starts with a standard speech type thing. You start with a joke, get everyone listening, everyone involved. And he starts with the joke and everyone kind of laughs and claps, and then he gets into it. Then he starts getting heavier and into what he's really trying to talk about. So he talks about how they recently lost another general to a heart attack. And he was in the car actually with his young son, or his young teenager at the time. My father's in the Army. And he's like, now this is a poignant reminder for all of us to remember that life is fleeting. It's not, you know, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow is not guaranteed. So we have to enjoy every moment. Look at your family next to you. Look at all this and enjoy all the people you're with. And I was like, that's so interesting, because I think Anne Frank, for the most part, sometimes did that, sometimes recognized when she wasn't, sometimes so then he says a quote, and you guys know I love quotes. And I remembered it because I thought it was amazing. He goes, William Blake understood this beautifully. He said, "He who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise." And I was like, he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise. What does that mean? So I went and looked up the quote by William Blake. And the entire quote is, "He who binds himself to a joy doth the winged life destroy. But he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise." And that's about living in the moment. You can't try to grab and hold on to things, because life isn't all joy. You can't try to just hold on to things. You have to live in the moment, kissing the joy as it flies with you. I thought it was super cool and brilliant. And then he started talking about Tecumseh. Tecumseh is a famous, I believe, Native American general. And he talked about how Tecumseh counsels us not to live a long and prosperous life, but to live a long life in the service of your people. And I thought that was super important. Super important. A long life in the service of your people. I think that is such an amazing concept, and I think it should be that way. I think as an artist, that's what you're doing. You're trying to educate, you're trying to help, you're trying to understand, you're trying to move forward as a person. And then he went on to talk about the military and how he felt that they were all given the gift of that purpose, knowing that they had given their lives in the service of their people, knowing that they had decided to pursue this vocation in this path in the service of their people. And when you're on a military base, anyone that has any family in the military, or anyone on the live that is in the military or lives on a military base, you understand that more importantly, most of the time, the reason people are, the ones that I know in my family, there are other reasons for being in the military, but for the most part, it's that understanding that you owe a service to this society that allows you to disagree and allows you and gives you this freedom and the opportunities that you can. And they felt that their service was to do that. So we have a different service, I think. I still feel a service, a need to do service, but differently. I don't know, I just wanted to bring that up to you guys because it was cool. I thought it was very interesting, and it was cool to be at a military base and have them. He quoted Tecumseh and William Blake in the same speech. And it further reminded me how brilliant and smart and educated and fun and caring a lot of people are in the world. And that goes back to the question, people inherently good? I think so. One of my favorite quotes, "Some of the greatest battles will be fought within the silent chambers of your own soul." Cool. I mean, how could this not get so deep? We're talking about the Diary of a Young Girl. It is a deep concept. So let's talk about it now. What did you guys overall think of the book? I expressed my opinions. What do you guys think of Anne Frank? What do you think of her relationship to her sister, to Peter, to her parents? What do you think about... Let's start with that. What do you think about the book? Let's start. What do you think about the book? Give me your answers really quickly. And then we'll go through all these other questions that I have ready for us. I believe people are inherently both, and it depends on which side you feed. Oh my goodness, Sweet Charity! Your Sweet Charity, that's awesome, because I just heard a story about an old man who was talking to his grandson. And he said, inside every person there are two wolves, constantly fighting. The wolf of good and the wolf of evil. And it's a constant battle. And inside everyone in the world, the same battle is happening. And the grandson goes, really? He goes, everyone you see, everyone has two wolves. And he goes, well, who wins? What do you mean? Who wins the fight? And he goes, the wolf you feed. So that's cool that you brought that up. I think it's been great writing, and the message is pretty hard. Yes, it is. Have any of you guys ever read this format of book before, where it's done in diary entries? Have you ever read that before? I've read a couple plays like this. I've never read a book like this. And it is at times hard to get through because of the way letter writing is. It's sometimes very mundane, and sometimes it gets interesting and talks about very complicated things. Hard to keep reminding myself that it's a diary, and some parts will be repetitive. It was quite difficult to get through, but still easier than 1984 for me. Okay, interesting, because I found 1984 much easier for me. But that's cool, Why do you think that? Why do you think that you connected to this book more than 1984? Tell me about that. What do you think that really was? Anne Frank is really incredible. She's smart, mature, and you can see her grow through the book, and I love that she's questioning herself. Yes! Camille, PRDM, I totally agree. I think you can see her growth, and at the end of the book you see a different... It kind of made me sad that her last entry is so insecure and self-questioning when she was such a confident girl throughout most of the book, but I think that shows her growth and maturity, and I totally agree. Oh, The Princess Diaries? Okay, see, I haven't read that, and I haven't read The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I've only seen it. Oh, I split my lip. It's starting to bleed. Different from regular book format to diary. Very soul-reaching. Interesting. It's too real, man. It's all too real. I love that. Because this happened, right? Isn't that crazy? I couldn't imagine going through what she did, what bravery she and those people had. You like books about war, don't you? Yes, I do. Well, I just find them interesting. I like history a lot. Wars tend to also be historical, and the soldier... Oh, the spirit of the soldier is something that this general talked about also. I thought that was amazing, because it was, you don't have to wear a uniform to have the spirit of the soldier. The spirit of the soldier is the spirit of someone who's in service to their people, and the spirit of a soldier never dies. And I love that. But yeah, kind of that thing too. A lot of soldiers talk about it. Very soul-reaching. Because I'm a female, I grew up quickly and found myself relating to her. I think with 1984, the other dystopians I've read have changed my perception on those types of books. Interesting. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm speaking too quickly. I do that. I will slow down. The last page, you think she loses hope. I don't think she loses hope. I just think she comes to this understanding that I think in life you have the people that you love around you. You always will, and they'll always be there to support you, but they can't live for you. So, in essence, you are alone in your battle through life, in your fight with those two wolves. That is your fight. And I think she's starting to discover that, and I think that's part of growing up, is discovering that while you have these people around you and you can build a world, every day you're fighting your life. And it can feel lonely at times. Are you learning about the Holocaust in history? Wow, what do you think? What are you learning right now? Talk to me. Kind of shocking. Cool. I really liked it because it was such a personal account on what happened from someone who lived it. Isn't that fascinating? Because we've read other accounts, we've read other fictional, based on accounts, but this is word of mouth. This is right from and to us. Very interesting, right? American Rose, I can't wait to visit the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam. I really want to. Alberto, I'm going to the city. Cool. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I've read Pigeons on the Grass. It's not really the diary entries, but it combines the stream of consciousness of a large number of different people, and that created kind of a similar feeling. Ooh, elaborate. Why? What do you mean? I couldn't read any book from the club yet. Okay. The house is always crowded with people being bad. Rousseau, that men wasn't good, but it was society the ones who polluted us. About people being bad. Rousseau thought that men were good, but it was society was the one that polluted us. You know what? That's very interesting, because Rousseau had thoughts like that. I would say that he thought that men were good and society... Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting concept. What do you think about that, guys? Do you think that people are inherently good and it's society that corrupts us? I think it could be not society, but pop culture, maybe. Because not always what's popular is best. That's another thought. I don't know. I'd like to hear your thoughts about that. Terrible at the end. Margot and her mother died from illness. They survived all of that just to die from illness. Yeah. Sad. Made me think about it made me think about how I would handle being in her place. But more, her parents' place. I can't imagine not being able to protect your children. I feel the same way. Imagine how hard that would be to know that they're on the whim of God and of good luck and good fortune, and just hoping that they don't make a mistake. It was super hard. I think it's interesting that we think of her life, that she's such a complex character, but for her, she was just herself. I'm going to comment on that. Flores Lorena? I think it's interesting that we think of her life and that she is such a complex character, but for her, she's just herself. Isn't that interesting? But then also when we have the tendency or when we have the desire to simplify someone to just one side of them, aren't all people this complicated? We just have to take the time to know them, just like we have to take the time to read Anne Frank's diary. Who knows? If you read one entry in this diary and it's one where she's kind of being a little bratty, you might think this girl is a brat. You wouldn't see her the complexity that she is. So I think that speaks to that we have to take more time to get to know people. Nature versus nurture, sweet charity. That's interesting. Someone who was the only survivor in her family came to my school, and it was so heartbreaking, but an interesting account. She had to live in the woods for several months. Oh, wow! That's like that movie. What's that movie? With, oh, I can't remember, but it's with, gosh, can anyone remember that movie? You know what movie I'm talking about? They live in the woods with, all names are escaping me right now. With the guy who plays James Bond, Daniel Craig, and, Liev Schreiber. There's a movie where they go in the woods. Great movie. We are a product of our environment, influenced by everything good that we consume and witness. I would agree with that, but I think there is some part of us that has a true nature, and that it's a blend. I think it's nature and nurture. I think it's a combination of all of these things. You know, I don't think it's just that we're the product of our environment. I think it's the environment, how we react to it, and how we were raised to react to our environment. First time I read it in school about 10 years ago, so when I read it again, it now gave me a totally different perspective. I connected with her. I connected with Anne herself less, but understood more what she wanted to tell. What did she want to tell? I feel like we just talk about how hard it could be for her, but we have literally no idea how she actually felt. See, I think the diary gives insight to that. There's a page, remember the chapter where she says, "While I can write as much as I can in this diary, you'll never know everything, because there's so much I can't say. I can't go into the fear that the women feel during the air raids. I can't go into the faces people make when this happens." You know, she talks about that, and she's like, "Oh, you'll never know what it's really like, but my idea is for you to just start asking questions, and to start putting you in my place, and having you think about that." I don't know. I think it's kind of cool how Anne and Margot switched diaries to see each other's input at the time, really expressing their feelings to help each other. True, right? Dussel did turn out to be annoying. Totally agree. I just couldn't believe how petty some of these, like even the Van Dams were petty sometimes. With their like, this is our sugar. I'm like, you guys are all in the same freaking boat. If one of you gets caught, all of you get caught. You guys should share your sugar. It's not that hard. You know what I mean? I thought her relationship with Peter was sweet and innocent, but it switched in the middle where I thought it was more one-sided. I think it was interesting how she had the awareness that Peter kind of needed to grow up a little bit. And while she could lead the horse to water, she couldn't make him drink and understand his confidence and stuff. Someone, did you write the diary entry you promised to read us? Oh, God, I forgot to do that. Oh, my gosh. I didn't do that. I'm so sorry. We'll talk about it later. I feel like there's so much to learn from Anne for all different ages. There's young people growing up, depression, family issues, the larger history lessons, so much. A woman is full of secrets she'll never reveal. I feel like with everyone there's so much that they never reveal. There's actually a really good movie about this. It's called Submarine by Richard Ayoade. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and in it there's a part where the main character says, "What's really inside Mom? What's really inside Dad? What do they think? How do they feel?" No one will ever really know because we're all submarines. We can't really see what's going on. We just have kind of sonar. We know where everyone is, but we can't really see what's happening inside the submarine. Anne Frank is honestly one of my idols. She's so inspirational. Like, to live through all of that and meet such horrible death is awful. I can't imagine it happening. Me neither. Me neither. Right? Even with the room that she wanted to write in, Dussel was such a dick. I was like, this is a 14-year-old girl. That's one thing. I was like, how are you fighting with a 14-year-old girl? Like this person's younger than you. This person doesn't have the awareness of the world that you have. You shouldn't fight with people. You should try to help them, educate them, and you know, I feel like you can use this. I'm sorry. I do talk very quickly. I will slow down. The movie's about It's a kid that simultaneously is trying to entertain and make his first love happen whilst trying to save the marriage of his parents. So Submarine, you should check it out. Submarine, it's awesome. The main actor, Craig Roberts, is one of my favorite young actors right now. I think he's amazing, and he's hilarious in everything he does. Richard Ayoade has a second film, but just check out Submarine and then we'll talk about it. I know I need some sleep. I haven't slept this week, and I'm like catching up. Honestly, I didn't think much about the relationship between Anne and Peter because they're like kids. It made me a bit uncomfortable thinking or shipping about them. See, that's interesting to me because while we can look at that younger relationship and say, oh, they're just kids. I remember when I was 14, when I was 16, and I had like my first crush or my first girlfriend or whatever, and it doesn't matter what anyone says, that relationship is real to you. That is your first relationship, and everything you feel, everything. You know what I mean? It's all real to you. You love the book, but it's heartbreaking. I agree. Dussel is ridiculous. People react to stress in strange ways. Maybe he wasn't always like that. See, I think that's something we have to think about. We have to think about, we can see how stressed everyone was, but imagine the understanding that you're living in an annex with 8 other people, some of whom are younger and don't have a full grasp of what's happening, and one mistake by any one of you 8 people can cause you to get caught. So yeah, I'd be annoyed at the 14-year-old girl who's making a lot of noise, asking a lot of questions, not really understanding that this is a very tense situation. I think Dussel was a big baby, so that's why he shared the room with the 14-year-old girl. They were like, well, you feel younger than her, so at least maybe she can teach you something. But I think she did grow up. I think that's something we have to recognize, that she did mature, and she was always aware of her faults and always wanted to improve herself. I thought that was so interesting. It's hard that even before I started reading it, we all know how it ends. So reading about her thoughts of her life was being like, once the war, oh wait, when she was like, once the war was over, it got hard. I totally agree. Oh, one of the reasons I'm also so tired, guys, so don't worry about it. I'm fine. I'm getting enough sleep. Just yesterday I drove from North Carolina to New York City, so it was like, it was a nine-hour drive. So I'm a little tired, but it's okay. I feel like they couldn't have a real childhood because they had to deal with so huge problems that normal kids these days could not deal with. This made her go up my eyes. See, I don't know if they couldn't deal with it these days. They just don't have to. In some countries they do. There are some countries in the world right now, unfortunately, where people have to go through horrible things that Anne Frank talks about it, and at one point she's like, why can't people just be good? Why are there countries that have so much wealth and some countries that are struggling to survive? Why are there countries where there's an immense amount of hunger and starvation, and some countries that have food rotting away? I don't get it. And until people have a huge metamorphosis, wars will continue to happen and people will continue to die. I think part of the reason they were so petty at times and possessive about things like sugar is because when you're losing everything, the tendency to be possessive of what little is left. I agree. And that's something we have to think about, right? We can see it. We should always look at face value, right? At face value, they seem petty and annoying. But deeper, Mrs. Van Daan, that was her last nice thing. That coat was all she had. That fur coat that she'd had for 15 years. And somehow the Germans managed to make her lose it. That's sad. That's my coat. Like, you've taken everything else. Can I keep my coat? To me, I get that. It was sad. Beautiful. That's a scene I would love to see in like a movie. That desire, that inability to let go. I think knowing what happened to her helped me get through it. I wanted to know everything about her life. Because it wasn't over that. It wasn't. Because it was over, that was it. No future. Once it was over, that was it. It's even sadder that some people still think they are superior than others, and thus they should be treated like... Yes, I agree. I think that's ridiculous. No one's better than anyone. You still, like... what's the word? Do you bleed? From Batman vs. Superman? Everyone bleeds. You're human. No one's better than anyone. Ever. What do you think about the letter Anne wrote to her father? To me, that was just... That's teenage. Like being a teenager. Not having feeling people don't understand you because you don't understand yourself. You don't know your place. You want to feel a certain way, but you still, you know. I felt bad. I felt bad for her father. I think everyone has a moment like that with their parents. Said it was the worst letter ever. I know how. I mean, it's hard. For me, that was like her step being like, I'm an adult now. And unfortunately, I think that's what her dad knew more than anything. It was like, she grew up so fast because of this situation. I don't know if I would want to do that. That's so much stress. Secrets of the universe. Okay, that's one question I was going to ask you guys. Thank you for bringing it up. Lopresti Mariana, I'm sorry if I'm sorry if I didn't say it correctly. What did you guys think of Anne's relationship with her mother? Yeah, it's snowing so much outside. It's really coming down. I'm loving it. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the relationship with her mother? I understood her letter to her father. It's easier to get angry at the ones you love during a difficult time, mainly because you know they'll still be there, or hope that they will. True. I have seen The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Love-hate relationship. It reminded me a lot of my own, and I felt Anne on it. I honestly relate, kind of. Interesting. It's like a lot of most young girls with their mothers, I think. What is that? That young girls have this contentious relationship with their mothers at times. It's like a phase. And I think Anne was in that phase. And unfortunately, it happened while they were in an annex. Anne was feeling that her mother didn't care about Anne's feelings and didn't understand her. I feel that sometimes my mom. That's interesting. They were probably quite similar, so clashed. It happens. I did not bond with either of my parents. The relationship Anne had with her mother, I had with my dad growing up. Interesting. It was like every other 14-year-old girl. For some reason, adolescent mother-daughter relationships are tense. Her mom definitely needed to listen to her instead of brushing her off. Interesting. It was strained. They had a hard time relating. I agree. Complicated. I've seen my parents' relationship with their parents isn't good because you wonder. Relatable. It's so sad because I could. Alright, I need to go turn the air conditioning off because it was getting hot in here because I put the heat on, but now it's getting cold. Give me a sec. I'm back. It seems complicated because I think her mom wanted her to be realistic. Her mom was scared. I'm not that tired. I woke up, took a shower, and then came. So I'm still waking up, guys. Don't worry about me. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm eating gummy bears for breakfast. The relationship was just like the one teens moms today, okay? No outlet. I felt like it was more amplified. Okay? Okay, that's something interesting. Most of the time there's another outlet. There are other people she can talk to, but they're strained. They're stuck, confined. She was at the growing up and starting to discover herself. Okay, that's why I talk fast. I'm trying to read them as I go. She was at the growing up and starting to discover herself stage. And when you're at that stage, you feel like most people don't care. I agree. It's still snowing, yes. And they don't want to take you seriously. That's the thing. People want to be listened to. People want to be heard. People want to be taken seriously at all times. And that's one of the things in creative discussions, or some people call them arguments, that's the most important part, I think, is making sure you're really listening, because people just want to be heard. Okay, we have 15 minutes left. Thank you. Right? I wish her mother's diary, if she had one, survived. Fear makes everyone act differently. Maybe they would have had a better relationship in other conditions. I agree, maybe they would have. It's hard to feel. It's nice to people don't have the chance to. I agree. We all have that phase where we need attention, especially when we're young. Think of all the beauty still left around you and be happy. That's actually one of my favorite quotes. I think it's I think it's so true. You can choose to see bad or you can choose to see the beauty, and the beauty always exists because life exists in balance. Might be harder to see. The book is full of amazing quotes. Alright, let's talk about that really quickly. I'm going to read your quotes, so put your favorite quotes up, and I'll read them to people. I'll read them for you guys. So what are your favorite quotes? Mine was that think of the beauty one, and there was another one where she talked about people being good. I listened to the book. I actually did the audiobook this time, guys, because I was driving, so I listened to the whole audiobook. Mine is, what's the point of war? Why, oh, why can't people live together peacefully? Why all this destruction? Why? Oh my gosh, Katrine Mosier 12, I love that quote. When you're standing beside an open window at twilight, you can say more to each other than in sunshine. I love that. No, guys, quotes from the book. Quotes from the book. Thank you for your other quotes, but quotes from the book. Don't condemn me, but think of me as a person who sometimes reaches the bursting point. To me, that quote is saying, think of me as human, not perfect. I listened to the audiobook, which is why I forgot to write quotes down. No, I forgot to write. Oh, I was driving, so I couldn't write quotes, but I listened to the whole audiobook. How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. About Gaia, that's an amazing quote. And I want you guys to take that to heart. You don't have to wait one moment. You don't need permission to be good. You don't need permission to do good deeds. No one's going to stop you. Who's going to stop you from doing good? Right? Even if it's to one person. Even if it's to yourself. That's making the world a better place. In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. I agree. I don't want to have lived in vain like most people do. I want to be useful or bring enjoyment to all people, even those I've never met. Wow, I love that quote. Another quote. I know it seems so childish, but wait till it happens to you. True. I had an occasional flash of understanding, but then got selfishly wrapped up again in my own problems and pleasures. Which I think is so self-aware. That's the process, you know? You become aware of something, you try to think about it, next thing you know, you're thinking about yourself. And then you try to become aware again. Laziness may appear attractive, but work gives satisfaction, and that's true. I don't want to hear symptoms of your age or other girls, or it wears off by itself. I don't want to be treated as a girl like all others, but as Anne on her own merits. What is done cannot be undone, but one can prevent it happening again. That goes back to our discussion about the importance of history. And only through looking at our past can we prevent and fix and work on our future. All right, we have about 10 minutes left, right? Am I right? 10 minutes? I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains. Wow. My favorite quote. Oh, wait. So I have pictures in my book. That's Otto Frank. Isn't that amazing? There's pictures of the whole family. You have Anne, you have her mom, Edith, you have Otto, and you have her and her sister Margot. Oh no, that's her and her friend, sorry. I want to show you guys this. There's the bookshelf. There's Johannes Kleinman and Victor Kugler, Miep Geiss, and Bep, Meep and Bep. Isn't that cool? I didn't know I could see that. I can't find my favorite quote, guys. I'm sorry. But I think it's that one where it's like, I can prevent it. Oh, so hard, the eternal struggle between the heart and the mind. Crying can bring relief as long as you don't cry alone. I didn't agree with that because I think crying alone brings relief. Alright, so we have about, what, like 6-7 minutes left? So want to start talking about the next book and the next plan for the book club? Alright, who has The Alchemist with them right now? Can someone tell me how many pages are in The Alchemist? Because I don't have it with me right now. But the next book is The Alchemist. 5 minutes left! Alright, so we're going to talk about this next book. So, guys, we did it! We read 4 books! I'm so proud of everyone. Thank you guys for coming. For anyone that is on the live that hasn't joined our book club yet, that's okay. For anyone that has been with us since the beginning, hell yeah! And 200-ish. Okay. So let's do it in 2 weeks. We can crush it in 2 weeks, half and half. What do you guys think? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I get back to my apartment on Monday. So on Monday, I will tweet how many pages need to be read by that Sunday. Because now, remember, we are always having lives on Sunday at 11 a.m. Or, you know what? It will always be Sundays. The time will change, but it will always be Sundays. We will only have lives on Sundays. Para todos que hablan español, los lives que vamos a tener para el book club solo los vamos a tener el domingo ahora. Todos los domingos van a ser nuestros lives. No va a pasar durante la semana, solo van a pasar los domingos. Ok, entonces el domingo que viene, no mañana, pero en la semana que viene vamos a tener el live el domingo, yo creo que a las 11. El domingo, El lunes que viene, cuando regreso a Toronto, I'm going to put on Twitter, perdón, yo no sé cómo decir eso en español. I'm going to put it on Twitter, el horario para esta semana, para este libro. El libro que viene, que es El Alquimista, de Paulo Coelho. Alright, so, for everyone that's asking, the next book is The Alchemist. I will put on Monday. You can start reading it now. It's a phenomenal book. I read half of it in Spanish, most of it in Spanish, so I'm excited to read it again. Anyone that speaks Portuguese, the website albertorosendebrazil.com. The book is there. So you can find it there, albertorosendebrazil.com. I know that one of our book club members, Rita, she has Rosende Reads PDFs on Twitter. You can go to Rosende Reads PDFs on Twitter, and the PDF, I believe, in certain languages will be there. And if it's not, and if you find it, tweet at Rosende Reads PDF, and they'll tweet it for you guys too. So the next book is The Alchemist. I'll have a full schedule for that, but it seems like it's going to be a really fast read. I've read most of it before in a sitting. It's amazing. So we're going to probably do it in 1 or 2 weeks. Remember, you can read it in whatever language you want. Puedes leer los libros en cualquier idioma que quieres. Solo tenés que leer los libros para poder compartir en nuestra conversación. So that's what we'll do. The author is Paulo Coelho. If anyone could tweet it, I will retweet it as we speak. So if anyone wants to tweet to me right now, I will retweet it what the next book is. After that, starting in January, we'll have like a week off. Well, I'll tell you a book that I'm going to read. So we're going to have a couple of weeks off before, we're going to finish that book, and then we're going to start Tuesdays with Maury in January. In between that time, I'm going to be reading this, True and False by David Mamet. Heresy and Common Sense for the Actor. It's an acting book that Harry recommended to me, Harry Shum. So I'm very excited to read it. Invent nothing, deny nothing, speak up, stand up, stay out of school. With these words, one of our most brilliantly iconoclastic playwrights takes on the art and profession of acting, in a book that is as shocking as it is practical, as witty as it is instructive, and as irreverent as it is inspiring. So, if anyone wants to read that as well, you can read it. I'm going to be reading that. But after we finish The Alchemist, we wait until January, and then we will start Tuesdays with Maury. In February, after Tuesdays with Maury, the next book is Fahrenheit 451. And after Fahrenheit 451, Catch 22. Anchors was the 5th thing. Thank you. Guys, Episode 2 of Anchors came out yesterday. I want you guys to go check it out. Let me know what you think. It's with this amazing, really good friend of ours. Her name's D.W. Watterson. She is a DJ. She's a director. She's just a brilliant person. She's awesome. She's a drummer. Jordan says it best in the episode. So check out the episode. It's fantastic. I loved it. Tweet at me, let me know what you guys think about it, how you guys think Anchors is progressing from episode 1 to episode 2. It's a little shorter, episode 2, which I think is better. So the next book is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, so I retweeted that. So let's talk about it really quick. We'll do the rundown. The next book, The Alchemist. On Monday, I will have a schedule for that. After The Alchemist, we have like a break of like a week and a half because it's still December. During that time, I'm going to read True and False by David Mamet. True and False by David Mamet. Then, after that, in January, we're going to read Tuesdays with Maury. The first book we read of the year is Tuesdays with Maury. The second book is Fahrenheit 451. Fahrenheit 451. And then the third book is Catch 22. And I will tell you who the author is in just a second. Joseph Heller. True and False is by David Mamet. Catch 22 is by Joseph Heller. So now you guys know the next 3 books in January. Tuesdays with Maury, Fahrenheit 451, Catch 22. We still have like 3 minutes left. Any questions you guys have for me? Anything you guys want to talk about? We still have some time. Stella is in Toronto with Raja. And I get back on Monday. She's staying with a friend right now. She's in Toronto, guys. She's doing really well. I miss her a lot. But I got to see Bella yesterday, which was nice. I'm not taking suggestions now, but I will when we finish our first 12 books. After a year of doing this, then we're deciding what's the next year going to be like. Like, how many books are we going to read next year? What style are we looking at? Just biographies? I want to have themes. Right now, the theme for our book club, in case you haven't noticed, are books that you should have read or are probably going to read. So books that you should have read in high school, probably are going to read in high school. So that's the theme right now. Books that you should have read that have stood the test of time and that a lot of people bring up. I'm not going to give you any spoilers about Season 3A. I'm going to tell you that things are crazy. I'm going to tell you that it's just as sad as it is amazing. I'm going to tell you that Simon goes through a journey. Everyone goes through a huge journey. It's going to be crazy. I will save the live and I will post it. So don't worry. I'll post it for the next 24 hours for everyone that wasn't able to join us. Alright. The clock started ticking. We've got 2 minutes. Have I listened to K-pop lately? No, I haven't. But hold on.
Do you have the time?
So we have 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Thank you guys for joining. We did 4 books. You should all, if anyone that has been reading with us since the beginning, should all be super proud. You guys have read 4 books now. We've read 4 books together. We've made the commitment for this book club. We've worked hard. We've gotten here. I'm sorry that I had that 1 week where it was like this last session, but it's crazy. So, thank you guys for joining. Thank you for being a part of the book club. Tell your friends. Remember, I believe that if the only way to save the world is through reading and learning. Education. So, anytime you recommend this book club, you're helping save the world. And even if you're not recommending the book club, recommend the book. I think a great holiday gift, if you guys are thinking of like, what should I get my family and stuff? Books. If one of the books we've read had an impact on you, I think it's a great idea to give people books. They're great gifts. I love getting books. So, great ideas for friends. Get them books. Have people join our book club. 27 seconds left. Thank you guys so much. I will see you next Sunday. I will tweet about it. I will retweet your tweets talking about the schedules and whatnot. And Monday I will come out with the schedule for The Alchemist. Until next time, guys, have a great weekend. Tell your parents you love them. And, yeah, have a good one, guys.